This episode of Around the Oval is brought to you by Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. Hey, Ohio State fans, Alex Gleitman here, back with another edition of Around the Oval, brought to you by Todd Pennington with Revolution Mortgage. The recruiting class of 2021 is pretty much tied up and with a nice bow and over with. Ohio State still waiting for one prospect and five-star defensive lineman JT Tuimoloau, who will probably make that decision in late April after making a few official visits, including one to Ohio State. But ultimately, we have moved on to 2022 recruiting coverage here at Buckeye Scoop, and so has the Ohio State staff. And with that, we bring on one of the Buckeyes' top targets in the class of 2022 from Memphis, Tennessee, Christian Brothers, running back Dallan Hayden. Dallan, thanks for joining the show. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. And, you're a heck of a player. You got some real big offers, and you just earned some pretty big honors. You were named as the State Player of the Year for the state of Tennessee by Max Preps. Congrats on that honor. How did it feel
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. How did it feel to get that honor as a junior?
It just felt really good. I put a lot of time this off season during quarantine. I took it very serious and just worked really hard. So it just shows the hard work pays off, and I'm doing the same thing this off season.
Yeah, for sure. And you played 9 games this year in your junior season, obviously across the country. It was just a weird year, I would say. That's the best way to describe it. But you guys got in 9 games, which I think is pretty good. Tell us a little bit about, I see your stats on Max Preps. It looks like, you rushed for over 2,000 yards and averaged about 9 yards a carry. And it looks like maybe 24 touchdowns, something around that. Is that right? How did you do this junior year?
Those stats are right.
Yeah, man, that's pretty impressive, especially for a junior in the state of Tennessee, where there's pretty good football. So again, congrats on that honor. Just talk about how did you feel you did this junior year? Obviously, those stats are great. Obviously, you won Tennessee Player of the Year. But what did you feel from your sophomore year to your junior year that you made a jump in that allowed you to have so much success on the field?
I feel like the weight room really helped me this off season or last off season, is continuing to help me speed. Worked on my speed a lot with my trainer and like doing track workouts. So I'd probably say those 2 things made me make that jump.
Yeah, what's your height and weight right now?
I am currently 5'11", 195.
Nice. I mean, that's, there's some NFL backs that size. So heading into your senior year and maybe put on a little bit more weight between now and then. And when you get to the next level, it's, you're going to be 5'11", 6 foot. And probably, what do you think, what's your ideal playing weight, when you get to college?
Probably around 210, 215.
That's not too bad for a guy who's got pretty good speed and can play with a little bit of power in between the tackles too. So, we'll cut to the chase. I mean, recruiting wise, you just recently announced, I call it a top 4. I guess you didn't call it a final 4. We'll call it a top 4. You still got, still technically open, but you got Oregon, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Tennessee. Let's go through each of those schools a little bit, talk about what you like. Let's go all the way out west. Let's start with the Ducks. Why did they make your final 4?
Well, growing up, I loved watching Oregon football, and then Rod Chance and their running back coach, Coach Maestro, and Coach Cristobal, they were just hitting me up a lot, and felt the love from them. So just felt that it was right to put them in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, I know they've been a school pretty high on your list for quite some time. Tell us a little bit what you like about Brian Kelly's program.
Same thing there. They were recruiting me really hard. They were really showing interest in me freshman year. It's just they have a process. So then when I got the offer, I didn't stop hearing from them nonstop. And September 1st hit. I haven't heard. They've been reaching out like constantly, and they text me almost every day. So they've just made me feel like a priority.
Yeah, and then Tennessee, the home state school, the Vols. Tell us what you like about them.
Well, they just had a coaching change. Everybody probably knows that, but they've still been recruiting me hard. When Coach Heupel took the job, he called me and was saying how important I am to him. He actually recruited my older brother when he was at Mizzou. At the time, he was the offensive coordinator, and he just always says he doesn't want to go 0 for 2 on a Hayden brother. So he's always hitting me up quite often.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Dallan's older brother Chase played for Arkansas. I believe he was also at East Carolina and then Illinois, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's at Illinois now.
Yeah, that's right. And your dad played for Tennessee, right?
Yes, sir, he did.
So how big is that in your recruitment when it comes to the Vols?
I get asked that a lot. It's really not that big, to be honest, because he just always tells me he wants me to go where I want to go. It's not his decision, and he just says he's going to support me no matter what colors I wear.
That's awesome. And being a newish father of two young kids, hopefully if my kids are in that spot that you are one day, I would do the same. Although as an Ohio State grad, I might tell them anywhere but Michigan.
Yeah.
We're the team up north. I don't want to get in trouble.
North, yes, sir.
Well, that's cool. And then, let's talk about Ohio State a little bit. Last school furthest east, the Buckeyes. I know a lot of people, I think, I've been talking to you and I've been reporting that I think Ohio State's a major player in your recruitment, and I know how much they like you. And I think a lot of people have been sleeping on Ohio State in your recruitment a little bit. Tell us a little bit about why the Buckeyes made your Final Four.
After my first game of my junior year, August 25th, Coach Alford calls me and tells me I have an offer from them and he's going to be recruiting me really hard. And ever since that day, I heard from him every day. And then Coach Ryan Day texts me a lot. And I did a Zoom with them recently and just talking about not only football, but he wanted to talk to me, my family, just make sure to see how we were doing. So it's been nothing but love from them. And I really like it and look forward to getting to Columbus.
Yeah, it seems like you got a really good relationship with Coach Alford, who I know has done a really good job recruiting the state of Tennessee, more so the Nashville area where they've had success in the past. But tell me a little bit about what you like about Ohio State as a program. I mean, they've had some really good running backs through the years. Eddie George and Beanie Wells and Ezekiel Elliott, obviously, and J.K. Dobbins most recently had a pretty good rookie year with the Baltimore Ravens. So they obviously have that running back heritage, but what is it about with you? I mean, that's great. I mean, Tennessee's had really good running backs and Oregon's had good running backs and Notre Dame's had really good running backs. So what is it about Ohio State that, I'm not going to say they're standing out over the other schools, but that draws you and makes you feel like you could be a good fit there?
Just their offense. They kind of run an offense similar to the one I'm running in high school, where they have a tight end, fullback, or H back, and I just feel like I fit their offense perfectly. And then, I used to live in Columbus, like when I was younger, and I remember we liked it, even though the weather, it's not like it is in the South, but we loved Columbus. And Ohio State football history just speaks for itself. The Big Ten championships, the national championships, the draft picks, first rounders they've had. I mean, there's just nothing negative you can really say about Ohio State.
Dad, I didn't know you lived in Columbus. That's pretty cool. Do you guys still have any family out up there in Ohio?
We actually do, more on my mom's side, actually. Not in Columbus, but like in the Ohio area.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Cool little fact. You never know that you'll find. So let me ask you, you've been to Tennessee, but you have not been, if I'm correct, you have not been to any of the other three top schools, right? So are you going to be right now the NCAA is supposed to end the dead period on April 15th, meaning April 16th is a quiet period, but you guys can take visits, official visits, unofficial visits to campuses. Are you planning to take your official visits this spring to all the schools?
Yes, I plan on I plan on taking some of my officials this spring for sure, because I feel like if I take it like fall while they're in the season, that just I just don't feel like that makes sense. So yeah, I'll be taking my officials this spring.
Yeah, I was gonna say also like with with the uncertainty of the world, if that
Yeah,
window
right.
opens, you guys
Mhm.
got to get out
Yeah,
and see those
that's what my
schools because
dad. See, that's what my dad told me, because I asked him. I said, "Would you start taking officials spring or fall?" He's like, "I'd take them now." He said, "Because you never know with the pandemic." And I was like, "Yeah, I was thinking the same thing." So yeah, I'll
yeah, because
definitely take my officials.
yeah, the 2021 class, I mean, barely any of them, if any, maybe some got in early March, were able to take official visits. So a lot of kids, I mean, Travion Henderson for Ohio State, running back recruit, picked Ohio State without ever seeing the school.
Yep,
And a
yep.
lot of kids across the
Coach
country
Alford
had to
told me
do
that.
that. So, it's tough. And, I think I think I agree with that strategy. Just real quick, one more thing about your brother, your dad. I know your dad kind of said pick wherever you want to go, but your brother's obviously gone through this, and he's had a unique situation. He's been at now 3 different programs that are at three. I wouldn't say 3 different levels. I'd say Illinois and Arkansas, obviously both big time football, SEC and Big
Power
Ten, but
five. Yep.
East Carolina a little bit too. So he's had quite a journey, and he was recruited pretty heavily out of high school. What has been the advice he's given you throughout this process?
You just told me just have fun with it, because the recruiting process is only like one deal. So have fun, enjoy. So just don't let it go to your head, and don't let it stress you out, and remain humble and hard, all those boxes. And so it's gonna be a pretty fun journey. I'd say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I got to ask, I'm not sure if you even know, but when is this journey going to end? Like, when would you ideally like to make a commitment, knowing you, knock on wood, hopefully you're able to take official
Yeah.
visits this spring?
Um, I've really, I know it's probably gonna be this spring for sure. Like, I just want to visit a couple of the schools, and then after I visit, a decision will come.
I'm
So
not going to ask.
probably like feel like it's definitely going to be in the spring. I'll just say that.
That's great, and we'll obviously keep all the fans posted at Buckeye Scoop as we hear more from Dallan. But I'm not going to ask you to name a school if there is one, but just want to know heading into these visits in your mind. I mean, is there kind of a school where you're like, I think this is where I want to go. I just want to take these visits to be 1,000% sure, or are you
Uh,
just completely clueless right
yes,
now?
sir. Yes, sir. I just don't want to say the school, but yes, sir, for
That's
sure.
that's that's good to know. I mean, it's funny. I always, I interview so many recruits every year, and then you hear kids be like, "Yeah, I honestly, everyone's equal. I don't know." And I understand the respect for all the schools recruiting you, and a lot can change between now and April, even with some of these schools, and your mind can change. But you got to think of it like me. I didn't play sports in college, but even I kind of knew where I was going to go. But I was still like, let me visit a few other schools just to be
Right.
1,000% sure. So I appreciate the honesty. We won't make you or ask you to reveal that school, but good stuff. We're looking forward to the decision. And one more question before we let you go. We know you're a really good running back, 4-star prospect. You had kind of your pick of the litter of where you wanted to go for college, and one school is going to be really lucky to get you. But tell us a little bit about Dallan Hayden off the field. What do you like to do when you're not playing football?
Man, uh, off the field, I'm just pretty chilled. One of the nicest people you'll meet. I'm a big family person, so usually I'm always hanging out with them, uh, hang out with some friends from time to time, work out with them, and just have fun with them. Uh, Sometimes I play like pickup basketball sometimes with some friends, but like not quite often. This summer, I actually got into this game. You ever heard of cornhole?
Oh yeah, it's big
Yeah.
in Ohio.
Yeah, me, my dad, and two of my friends, really good friends. We just got in the cornhole and started playing tournaments and stuff this summer. So yeah, and then I like watching Netflix.
Nice. Well, it seems like a pretty average teenager to me, outside of the
Yes, sir.
fact that He ran for 2,000 yards and 24 touchdowns in his junior season. But Dallan, I lied. I'm going to ask you one more question just because you talked about, friends and hanging out and texting and all that. A lot of these, the group text has become super popular when it comes to recruiting. And I know the Ohio State 2022 commits, who are currently ranked as the #1 class in the country, have been pretty aggressive in recruiting other guys to join their class. Have you been in touch with any of those guys? Have they reached out to you? Anyone try to recruit you at all?
Yes, sir. They reach out a lot, for real.
Who have you been talking to out there? Is CJ Hicks, I'm guessing, leading the charge, or
McCullough, Bennett Christian, Caleb Bird, those, and I talked to Quinn. So yeah, those 4 people. Because Bennett's dad he played at Tennessee like my dad. So
yeah, for sure. That was a big one. I think a lot of Tennessee fans thought Bennett was going to end up in Knoxville, and he made a decision with his head, not his heart, I guess, if that's the best way to put it. And you're obviously going to have that same decision too. So, we wish you the best of luck over the next few months and trying to figure that out and making that decision. But we appreciate you joining the show tonight and are looking forward to continuing to cover your recruitment and possibly your career if it's in Ohio State. So thanks, Dallan, again, and best of luck to you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This episode of Around the Oval was brought to you by Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. If you've been thinking about refinancing or buying a house, check out our sponsor, Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. They offer low rates for refinancing and home purchase loans, including first-time home buyer programs, down payment assistance, and cash-out home equity loans. Check out revolutionmortgage.com/tpennington.